How to manage a construction project at the beginning. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the key considerations that we must know about when we're starting a project and really attempting to manage it, and the risks that we really need to look out for. If you want to have a great perspective of what running a project at the beginning is all about, then stay with us on this video. Okay, everybody, I am super stoked to talk to you about this concept. I love this, been through this many different times, and I want to give you an overall perspective. Let me go ahead and head over here to my flip chart, and we're going to have some fun. Okay, so first and foremost, let's say that this right here is your start date on your project. You really want to get these first mobilization, foundations, excavation, these activities like really going well. And you want to come out of the gate really hitting it hard, really going fast. Now, you know me, I'm not a pusher, I'm a driver, but if we want to drive 80 miles an hour, at the beginning of the project is the time to do it. Later on in the project, when you have 40 different trade partners, it's hard to speed up or slow down without massive consequences. But when you have a couple of trades here at the beginning, we must get out of the gate fast. So what I want to say is about 3 months before you start the actual project, we had better be to a spot where the builders are involved and we have our macro level TAC plan, which means our master schedule, and our norm level TAC plan. We'd better be looking at long lead procurement, right? So before we start, if you have shoring, if you have post-tension systems, if you have complex reinforcing types, if you have anything that you need to start this building, you'd better have managed the long lead procurement before we come to that stage. So that's why I love pre-construction efforts, is because you can go ahead and get deferred submittals for the post-tension out. You can get your detailing for your concrete structure going. You can get your shoring systems designed and get those shop drawings going through and get them approved, right? Anything that you need here needs to be done in pre-construction. So one of the first things that we need to look at is procurement, right? Do we have long lead procurement items coming on the way for the things that we need? So let's check it out. Obviously, you're going to have switchgear. Obviously, you're going to have air handlers. If you have curtain wall on your project, unitized curtain wall on your project, you're going to have to get that out. If you have tile from Italy, anything that's long lead, elevators, needs to be taken care of in pre-construction. And the way that I like to do this is if you have a macro or a norm level TAC plan, meaning your production plan, you work those back and you trigger those, you start the buyout and the procurement process when it's needed so you can start right here. So if you want to know how to really manage a construction project early on, make sure that you're managing procurement in a remarkable way. The other thing that I want to point out is temporary utilities. This is something that I always freak out about, and I think we don't take this seriously enough. So if we're going to grade the site, what's the first thing that we need? Water, right? So we need to know, where are we going to get the water source from? Where are we going to tie into? What's the permitting process? Do we have the actual infrastructure to bring it over? Do we have the contractor to pull the permits, right? We need water to this site. We also have dry utilities, right? We have the communications, so your internet, and we have temporary power for your project site if you're not going to use generators. So when I talk about temporary utilities, I want to make sure that you have your water, and then you might not need temporary power right away. Maybe you need temporary power before you start your foundations. I want to make sure that you have both of these tracking properly so that you have them on time. And most of the time your trade partners are going to be experts at this, so you'll have to make sure that your bidding process and your buyout gets you a site utility contractor or a plumber and then your electrician so that you're good to go and you can do the power drop and then bring the temporary power to your locations on site. So these are the key things that I'm always looking for. Now, one other thing here with this, in addition to temporary utilities, we have permanent utilities that might be in the way. You've heard me talk about in pre-construction that if you have a duct bank in the way, communications cabling, if you have gas lines in the way, sometimes it takes quite a bit of time to move those out of the way. I remember two scenarios from working here in Phoenix. One was a duct bank that APS had to move out of the way, and this was fast, 5 months to get that relocated out of the way of the building. And then we had 100 pair cable for the communications line that needed to be moved out of the way. I think it was by CenturyLink, and that took about 3 months to move out of the way. And if we hadn't seen those things, we would be in trouble. So make sure you get any permanent utilities out of your way and any temporary utilities to the project site by the time you need to start. Otherwise, it's going to be a big deal. The other thing that I want to talk to you about is survey. One of the things that we need to do, I won't go into it in too much detail, but if you have a project site, every project site will have basis of bearings, which will be your coordinates and your benchmark. These are the monuments, the city monuments that they use to as-built the site, right? You need to identify a northing, easting, and elevation for these, and then you need to actually understand the coordinates for the buildings, right? For some reason in this industry, the survey company and the civil engineer still don't provide this information, and you have to beg for this information. I have no idea why. We should get this right out of the gate so that you can go ahead and traverse the site for your primary control through your basis of bearings, and then design your grid system and come in here and lay out your secondary control, right, for the building. So survey is a huge consideration, and I'm telling you, at least 6 weeks before your NTP date, you need to be working on that, and you probably need to consider having your field engineers out here surveying and doing this traversing and level looping 2 weeks before you break ground. The fourth thing that I want to talk to you about, it's actually the sequence. But really, if you like this content, if you're finding this valuable, please like this video, subscribe, comment below. Unless the video is like hidden in the hundreds that we have and a year old, I respond to them personally. So we'd love to hear from you. But really, item number 4 is sequence the work for a quick mobilization. Here's what I want to say. All of these trades in here, even though they're not on the site, you want to go ahead and do a pull plan as soon as you have them available. You'll want to work through this. You'll want to make sure that you have the fastest possible mobilization. And in most cases, when you actually get here on site, you're going to have to do what I call a day-by-day or a week-by-week analysis. That means you do a drawing, you say, hey, week 1, and then you do a drawing, right? And you show what that looks like. Week 2, and then you do a drawing and you see what that looks like. And then week 3, and then you do a drawing and see what that looks like. A week-by-week or day-by-day analysis to make sure that everybody's in the right spot, that we're getting grading to the first pad, we're certifying that first pad, utilities aren't in our way, and we can start foundations as soon as possible. So make sure that you're sequencing the work right out of the gate to go fast, and that you're able to mobilize quick and get going, because this is where we can gain time. That is done with a pull plan. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is setting up the team. When you're on your project site, you want to get the job site trailer and your permanent team up and running as quickly as you can. So the trailer, and you might have to have state inspection on that, power, communications, furniture, you know, your Kawasaki mules, whatever you need to get back and forth. You want your command posts as far forward as possible towards the battlefront as humanly possible, is what Patton said. And in construction, what that means is we need to minimize the amount of time that it takes the management to get to the site to lead the work and enable and support the trade partners. So get your team set up. Do not fall asleep on getting this trailer on site. The last one I want to talk about is the trade partner preparation process. This process is your buyout, okay? And I'm just going to abbreviate these because I've talked about these before. And I'll link you to the videos about the trade partner preparation process. So buyout, your pre-mobilization meeting, your pre-construction meeting, or your prep meeting, right? And then there's 3 other steps. Okay, I don't need to go through those right now, but these are critical. I want to see that all of these activities have the right buyout, pre-mobilization, and then the preparatory pre-construction meeting happening at the right times ahead of the activities by 3 weeks, so that they are ready to hit the ground running, and they're not going to be on treasure hunts. They're not going to be confused. They're not going to wonder what's going on. Procurement, temp utilities, survey, sequence the mobilization to hit the ground running, set up the team, and make sure you're following the trade partner preparation process. This is how we really manage that project site early on. And what I'm going to do is turn this into a Canva graphic for you, turn it into a blog post, and we're going to link you to the other videos about the trade partner preparation process. This is going to be a series of videos of how to manage a construction site at different phases. We'll link you to those too. But I really hope you've enjoyed this content. On we go.